This craft was inspired by a viral DIY holiday bell made out of toilet paper tubes and Easter eggs that I saw on Pinterest. I couldn't get the paper tubes to line up with my Easter eggs, so I decided to recreate this project using a cereal box. But I just cut a strip of cereal box cardboard. You don't have to be exact. I made each of my 3 bells at different heights, so cut it 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 2¼ inches, whatever you like. Cut off the smaller half of an Easter egg, and then just start hot gluing that strip of cardboard all the way around in that, and it'll nestle right into that rim of the Easter egg there. Then you want the tail to overlap just a little bit, so cut it off so it overlaps by maybe 1/4 inch or a little bit more, and then hot glue everything together real securely so that those 2 tail ends lie flush. Then you're going to kind of embellish everything with hot glue. My fine point hot glue gun is a lifesaver here. So a strip of hot glue right along that seam, and then another line of hot glue along the seam between the cardboard and the Easter egg. I also did a second line, maybe 1/4 inch underneath that first line, and then I also did a line of hot glue all the way around the base of what is now my bell. So 3 horizontal lines in total. Then I also added a dab of hot glue on the top of the Easter egg and popped a little wood bead right on top, and that is where the hanger is going to be so I can hang these bells up. Then take your fingertip and try to rub away as many of those stray little flying hairs of hot glue as you can so you have a nice smooth surface. I just grabbed a 1-inch flat paintbrush and some black chalk paint. I painted the whole thing, inside and out, with the exception of right in the center. I left the very center of on the inside of the Easter egg unpainted so that when I hot glue my little bell hanger, it would have something to stick to and it wouldn't be ripping away the chalk paint. But just a solid coat here, and then this is my lazy girl hack. I didn't want to have to wait for the inside to dry before I painted the outside, so I just set the bell on a piece of parchment paper, and then the paint as it dries doesn't stick to anything. Then once the black chalk paint was all dried, I grabbed my go-to antique gold rub and buff 1/2-inch brush. This is my rub and buff brush. I use it for all my rub and buff projects. And kind of a dry brush technique. You don't want too much. And that's why it's called, rub and buff. You kind of buff it in. And you can add as much or as little of the gold paint as you like and leave as much or as little of the black paint exposed underneath, depending on how worn and distressed you want your little bells to look. Then I finished it off. I tied a double knot in the one end of a piece of twine. No, a triple knot, sorry. Triple knot in the end of a piece of twine. Covered it in hot glue, and then very gently set that down inside the bell and used the end of a paintbrush to press that knot right into the center of that Easter egg there. That way I have my little hanger. And then you add a tiny little wood bead. I painted these black at the same time that I painted the bells black. String that up, get it hanging right at the height you want where it hangs just outside the bell so you can see it, and then add a knot very carefully to secure, and then cut off any tail end that remains of that twine. So when I first did this, I tied the knot for the wood bead first, and I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense. You need to hot glue into the bell first, then add the wood bead. And then for my hanger, I just have this gold floral wire. I wrapped it around the end of a paintbrush 3 times, gave it a little twist, cut off the tail ends. So I had this little screw eye hook there. Add a dab of hot glue inside that wood bead and then pop that right into place, and there's your little hanger that you can then string twine through and hang up your holiday bells. So like I said, this is just my variation on something that I saw on Pinterest. I saw this, I think last year when I was obsessed with making all of the bells, and I did a compilation video of all the bells that I made last Christmas, but I just never got around to trying this version, so I hope you enjoyed it.